Hi, I'm Specs. Welcome to That Philosophy. Violence is one of the many genres in gaming today. We see it quite a lot. But does this mean we have a lust for violence in gaming? What's the connection? Now don't worry, I'm not going to prove some bullshit claims that violence in video games causes people to fly off the handle. It's simply not true. What I am going to talk about today is why we love violence in our games, as well as investigate if there is so much of a desire for violence that we lust for it, much like sex appeal. For most of us, the turning point with extreme violence was with Sega's Mortal Kombat. Nintendo was more the nerdy kid who did his homework, where Sega was the bad boy with the bat, the backwards hat, and ready for a fight. And that's what set the two companies apart. Eventually, Nintendo did cave to bloodshed and join the ranks. But in the 90s, if you wanted gore, Sega had you covered. Whether it was in the arcade or on your home console. And the starting point for most controversy was Mortal Kombat. Released in 1992, Mortal Kombat was one of the many new releases on the scene, but was singled out the most. During 1992 and 1993, hearings on game violence used Mortal Kombat as its prime subject.
The makers of some video games promote them as a way that guys can show how tough they are. But today, the game makers themselves blinked. Under pressure from an angry Congress and angrier parents, game makers offered a new rating system. GA for general audiences, all ages. MA13, okay for teens, but not younger kids. And MA17 for 17-year-olds and older. The timing of the peace offering was no accident. Just an hour later, the Senate began hearings on new legislation to prevent violent games from reaching kids.
The issue was not only did Mortal Kombat use realistic captured models for the game's characters, but the game also showed realistic decapitation. Games such as Lethal Enforcers and Night Trap were not far behind as some of the big names of the issue. This was one of the first instances where violence in video games became centre stage. Violence became a topic right alongside sex appeal, and changed the face of games forever. The entertainment industry was given 1 year to come up with the rating system, known as the ESRB system. This system protected people from violent video games, and from parents unknowingly exposing their children to games they didn't approve of or know the content of. But if anything, they craved it more. Putting a rating on a game just tempted gamers, doing anything they could to get a hold of these cartridges. But in order to sell video games of this nature, there is a formula. A successful narrative needs a good conflict, and violence is a convenient and entertaining gateway to that conflict. Sex can be applied to this formula too. It's one of the best marketing combinations for games to get top billing. But why the urge? What is it about these violent games we feel attracted to? One angle is the rush, the adrenaline. Now this actually applies to your brain. Feeding your adrenaline creates a rush, much like a ride on a roller coaster. When you play video games, noradrenaline is released, a hormone related to blood pressure changes. More commonly known hormones that are also released include testosterone, which is a male steroid hormone, and cortisol, which is released in stressful situations to calm you down. These three released and mixed together can create quite the rush or thrill. You could call it a cocktail of hormones, if you will. It's the same effect as being punched, but not. It's awesome. It's scary, but it's breathtaking. Awesome for the moment, I suppose. A study published on NPR.com breaks down the motivations of humans into A, B, and C. A being autonomy, you hold the controller so you are in control. B is belonging. Playing with friends or online meets these feelings and the need to belong. And C, competence. The more you play, the better you get at your game, the more your confidence goes up. This results in your enjoyment levels rising, which results in you playing more, and your confidence continuing to rise. A study from the American Psychologist Journal states that playing video games of a violent and adrenaline-pumping nature can heighten navigation, memory, perception, and emotional resilience, basically heightening your skills, which makes it kinda like leveling up your own body. Hey, not everyone is into violent video games, but you can see why people lust for them. It's just for the rush, for the fun, and for the adrenaline it creates. All of this combines into pure carnage and fun, without you even knowing it. Science can be some crazy shit, huh? But to quote a shady looking character on the news once,
I think you need that break from reality to just go fight a dragon or, you know, drive a monster truck. I mean, you may never ever get to do that, and that'll probably be the closest thing you get. You can lose yourself in a world that you yourself may not be able to ever reach.
Wise words, Shade. Got any topics you'd like us to cover? Comment in the box below. I'm Specs. That's my philosophy.